G'day, welcome back to the channel and a bit of an update video because I haven't done a video in a few days and things have been happening, lots of things happening now. I spoke to Dean Winter from CAA. He gave me a ring on Friday afternoon New Zealand time. We had a bit of a chat. It was off the record, was confidential, so I can't pass on the details of that conversation, but some very interesting generalities were brought up which I can discuss and I will discuss in an upcoming video. If you're interested in how this whole thing works, how the regulator's perspective comes to bear on this and so forth, then you really want to see this video. It might give you some insight into how these matters are handled, and because it's always useful to know where your, I will say opponent, but really we should be working together, where the other side is coming from. I have taken a look from his shoes, and I think hopefully he's taken a look from my shoes, and I think we might be able to make a little bit of progress, not as much as I'd have liked to happen, but a little bit. So watch that video, it's coming up pretty soon, you won't want to miss it. And another thing today, I've been working on the ADSB Alarm, and I was working here when a plane flew past. Well, I say flew past, it was came down to about 15k or something away. So, but I'll show you what happened. This is how it works. Now this is very, very early, 0.1 version. And so give you an idea of what's going to happen if you take this thing out in the field. Take a look at what I filmed just a few minutes ago. Okay, here we have the ADSB alarm working. It's picked up an aircraft, it's a commercial flight. It's at 19,000 feet, it's 25 kilometers from the airfield. I've set the threshold for alarm to 20 kilometers because there's not much in the way of traffic at the moment, mainly these large passenger flights, so they don't come too close to our airfield. But let's see what happens. Let's just track this. It's getting, there's a little bit of a glitch in the system there, but I'm fixing that bug at the moment. I know what it is. But we're getting close to 23, 22, as you can see. When it gets to 20, you should notice the alarm kick in. I haven't got the noise fitted, but if there was, if the speaker was plugged in, you'd be hearing the alarm sound. We're down to 21. There we go. You can see it's just 20. And when it gets below 20 or 20 or below, then it will be in the state of alert. Now, of course, I've set it to 20k, but normally you'd set it to something like 2 or 3. There we go. Now we can see that we're less than 20k, so it's turned red to alert us to the fact that there is an aircraft within our exclusion zone, the zone that we have set to be, excluded from aircraft. And normally, as I say, you'd set this to probably around about 2 or 3 kilometers, just enough to keep you safe. And also, you'd set the altitude to something a bit lower, like maybe 1,000 feet. So if an aircraft flies over at 19,000 feet, it doesn't matter that it's flying directly overhead because you're nowhere near there, but you can control those parameters. I'm setting up a smartphone app so you can enter those parameters quite easily. And this is the display, and as you can see, it's connected over here if we follow this cable to, this is a Raspberry Pi. This one's a Raspberry Pi 4, but it's any of the Raspberry Pis would do. And plugged into that, we've got a thing called a software-defined radio dongle. That is these are cheap as beans. And on top of that, I've got just a simple, this is actually a 433 megahertz antenna. So antennas aren't critical, I just use that. And we're tracking these things. As I say, we're tracking it, was out to, where are we now? We're down to 13 kilometers, but it started tracking at about 30 kilometers. So we're getting a lot of range out of this, just as it is there, sitting in my room on top of the inkjet printer. So there you go. This is the kind of stuff that it does. That's it working. I said some bugs. You saw that little glitch before, and I've got some extra features to add, including the smartphone connectivity. And so, yes, stay tuned. As soon as I've got the basics up, I'm not going to add too many bells and whistles because it is totally open source. Once I've got the basics going and you can build your own, I'm inviting people to improve it, enhance it, extend it, do whatever they like based on this simple functionality. Now that LCD, I picked it up for $12. I picked up a whole lot of them up for $12, super cheap. And the Raspberry Pi, I think here in New Zealand, that was $62 New Zealand, it's about $35 US. And the dongle was $25 New Zealand, which is about $12 US. So yeah, New Zealand dollar terms, this is well under $100 worth of kit to give us all that protection. And this craft's coming actually a lot closer than most of them now. It's starting to head away again now. See, it's 10.75, 10.78. So it's past, closest point was probably about 10 kilometers. And it's up to 16,725 feet. There you go. So of course you can have this in metric or imperial. Aviation tends to work in imperial, but I put the distance as kilometers because that's what we tend to use here in New Zealand for distance, although aviation altitude's almost always measured in feet, so that's a mixed unit thing. But there you go. Stay tuned, more on this to come, but I want you to see that the system is working. It's working really well, and there's just a few little gremlins and bugs to get out of it at the moment. So that's the update. And here's that flight on Flight Radar 24. You can see it's highlighted, and this is, where are we? We are Tokoroa, we are here. Oops, moving in the right place. There we are. So that flight has gone past, and it tracked us. We tracked it from about there up to there, and we're located over here. So there it is. That's the flight, and so it's tracking very, very nicely. So there you go. That's, as I say, very early days. A lot more work to be done, but I will be putting this up online in the pre-release form so people can start running with it. Now, I'm old and my coding skills are crap now, but I know people are going to take this, they're going to improve it, they're going to enhance it, they're going to add features, they're going to fix the bugs, the numerous bugs, and that means it's better for everyone. It's totally open source. I'm not going to make a bean out of this. I don't want to make a bean out of it. Safety, you can't put a price on safety. Safety should be free. So you'll be able to download the software, get your own Raspberry Pi and your bits and pieces, build it up yourself. You won't have to go and spend your hard-earned money on something that I or someone else decides to make a profit on. No, not in this case. Right, what else is coming up now? I spent some time today just looking, while I was waiting on various things to happen, looking at some old videos on the AMA YouTube channel. And I found some gems. I found some real gems that reminded me of how this hobby used to be before we were all deemed to be evil drone flyers. Even when we fly scale RC models, we're evil drone flyers. Regulators think we're all the same, but we're not. We know that. But this was images of the hobby in bygone years, right from 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, some really, really good stuff. That was a time when the hobby was seen as a wholesome, healthy outdoor pursuit that parents encouraged their children to engage in because it would keep them fit, it would get them out in the fresh air, it would lay the pathway for possibly a career in aviation or aeronautics. Fantastic stuff. So I'm going to excerpt some little bits. I'm going to show you. I'm going to link to the original videos because I'm not going to use material without giving credit where credit is due. So I'll pull some little bits out of those videos and I'll just give you my thoughts on them, and I'll link to the original videos. You can go and have a look for yourself, and because there's ads in them, AMA will earn some coin. That's great for everybody. They do have mid-rolls, unfortunately, which brings me to another subject. Damn mid-roll advertising. Now, I did a video a while ago on the evils of mid-roll advertising, saying that I'm not going to be using them because I hate them, and I value the experience that my viewers get watching my videos far more than the little bit of extra coin that I might earn from littering my videos with mid-rolls. Now, a lot of people have started littering their videos with mid-rolls, and I've unsubscribed from so many damn channels that previously I was quite a fan of, but now my life's too short. There's not enough of my life left to put up with interminable mid-roll videos. So I've unsubscribed from a lot of channels, and I think I've annoyed a few people because I've told them I'm unsubscribing. That's it. Your content's just not worth the number of ads you've got in it, and I haven't gone back. And to be honest, it's really improved my experience on YouTube. I'm spending far more time discovering new stuff without ads, and I've found some really good channels out there that I would probably have never bothered looking at before this mid-roll thing came along. So this could be a great thing for small channels and a great thing for channels that don't use mid-rolls, because I'm doing another video on my experiences as one of the few channels left that don't use mid-rolls. And it will surprise the pants off you, because it surprised the pants off me, just what effect that's had on my viewership and on my revenues. I'm going to show you all that, and hopefully it'll mean a few more content creators will realize that mid-rolls are not the answer. In fact, they're exactly the non-answer. You shouldn't be using them. There are a lot of benefits to not using mid-rolls. I'll cover that. No flying today. This is the weather outside. Look at this. It's late winter here in New Zealand, the last weekend of winter for 2020 in the Southern Hemisphere, and it looks like it. It's misty, it's cold, it's windy, it's wet. It's going to be windy tomorrow as well, so it's unlikely there'll be any flying videos this weekend. I apologise for that, but that's what you get in the winter. I can't fix the weather, I can't help the weather. So it will give me more time to get on with the more pressing things that I'm doing here, including these videos that are to be made and the extra work on the ADSB Alarm. Lots and lots of stuff that I will be doing for you guys, which of course means I have to remember to thank my Patreon supporters. You're supporting the work I'm doing now behind the scenes. A lot of hours I'm putting in dealing with things like the CAA issue, trying to help other people come up with strategies for saving the hobby, because we really reached the point where we've got to save it. Here in New Zealand, there was an announcement by the Ministry of Transport that they've told us what they're going to be doing, and it's even worse than the USA. It's that bad. It's absolutely terrible. And this, we cut them off at the pass. The hobby in New Zealand is doomed. It's gone for. It's going to be, there'll be no hobby, which is why I was watching those AMA videos, to remind me of what we could be losing. That's it. I've got too much to do. And Beers with Bot Grinder started, I think. Yes, it started already. I better go and watch that, and then I'll do some work. So thanks, guys. Spot you later. Bye for now.